Madam X of House of the Dreaming, here on Vampire Lounge, welcoming you to the collective. Welcome. We have with us Ezikiel Tempted, member of House of the Dreaming, and a very good friend of mine. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Today what I'd like to talk to you about, Ezikiel, is about Otherkin. We are addressing the vampire community, and I know that a lot of the vampire community doesn't really understand who Otherkin are, what they're about, what it means really. And there is, and there has been for many years, negative stigma against Otherkin, and I really think it's because of misunderstanding. So today what we're going to try to do is maybe try to target some of the top questions that the viewers may have about Otherkin. So would you like to tell us a little bit about what your perspective is of Otherkin?
Okay. Well, my perspective is a little bit different than traditional. There are several schools of thought when it comes to Otherkin. Mine is different. I essentially have the idea that Otherkin embody an archetype as opposed to having been reincarnated as whatever elven princess they think they may have been, that they are not embodying a particular named entity or a specific creature, that they are more embodying the overall understanding of a demon or an angel, that they evoke and invoke that presence naturally, that their energy is somehow gravitating towards using and understanding that energy just as easily as their human body metabolizes food. And that's not very popular.
Okay. What is the standard perception?
The standard perception, there are three schools of thought. One, that the Otherkin are reincarnations of particular entities. Of course, it may be dragons, but something with a name. Like a particular type of dragon,
a fae, an elf.
A fae or an elf, but that they also have particular spiritual lineages that they can trace back through past life regression. Or the second one is that they are energetically inclined to metabolizing the energy of fae. Hard to describe, especially with the semantics that we have at our disposal, which are not very detailed, specific, or good. But the second school of thought is more that their spirit reaches out and mimics the energy of a fae or a dragon or an elf, and that is how they identify and associate themselves with that creature.
Okay. And what would be the third?
That it's complete bullshit.
Okay. And so that's basically just a delusion.
Yeah, that it's a delusion, that people don't actually have the energy of an alternative entity, and that they are trying to make themselves seem more special by saying, hey look, I'm a dragon, I'm nifty. And not one of my more popular ways of saying that, but...
Right. So now, your perspective is different because what you're saying is that it's an embodiment of the essence of the archetype.
Exactly. And kind of like being born in this incarnation, you have a name, and that's personally where I feel a lot of people get their nightside names. Throughout their awakening, whether it is in any spiritual tradition or as a vampire or an Otherkin.
Question, do you consider vampires also Otherkin? Do you consider Therians Otherkin? Or are Otherkin just within the realm of the mythical alien, angelic, demonic creature?
great question. Again, not one of my more popular
answers
to that question. But I personally believe that Otherkin are an alternative spirituality embodying the archetype. So vampire, yes, would be included in that they are something other than a standard human. I hate the word mundane.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It just seems redundant, because nothing is mundane. But the people that embrace an alternative spirituality in order to further their awakening and use it to propel their spiritual awareness, they're otherkin. Mm-hmm. You know, whether they identify with the archetype of Christ or Shiva or Buddha or Dracula. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much all the same. We're just trying to nitpick and needlessly so.
Right. Well, we tend to try to overqualify things, I believe.
Put things into small, tiny boxes mm-hmm. inside of bigger boxes and mm-hmm. compartmentalize everything.
And I think it's just our strife for communication and self-understanding.
Which I think is a very human trait, which mm-hmm. is, quite honestly, one of the reasons why I think that we were put onto this existence, was to understand the things that are going on around us. And semantics are a great way of learning to understand that you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
it certainly worked for me.
Very much like how Socrates put it, the more you know, the more you realize that you just
have
don't
no
know.
idea. Exactly. And the more that I experiment with the archetypal energy of my own awakening, because as you know, which I'm sure that the viewers do not, I awakened as a demon when I was very, very young. It wasn't really so much of an awakening like, oh hey, that's new and different. It was more, wow, these people don't think like me at all. And how do I express to them and communicate with them how I feel and how I identify myself. And so that's kind of what started my journey.
Right. How far back does your journey go? How many years have you been, or how long have you been looking into
I started
the Otherkin?
I started researching magic and alternative spirituality when I was 8. So I was very, very young. I wouldn't suggest it, because there are not a lot of resources out there for somebody who is prepubescent. Unless they were born into a family that is already practicing, which I was not. So all of this was done on my own free time at public libraries and reading books and practicing things that 8-year-olds should never practice. But it led me in a lot of very interesting directions.
And so when did you begin to actually focus in or zero in into the Otherkin
aspect? Mm-hmm. It was not very long after, actually. I started discussing online on a forum with, I can't remember the name of the forum. It's been so long, and it's not active anymore.
Right.
But I had heard somebody mention that they were a dragon. It's like, thinking as a 10-year-old, I wish I was a dragon.
Right.
And then learning to understand what they were trying to talk about and trying to convey, I saw similarities with my own path and what was going on, and it really made me understand.
So now, all these years have passed. You've deepened your awareness and your understanding of this, and I know that you have. Not only are you part of House of the Dreaming and you post frequently on our forum, but you also work on a personal project, actually several projects, but one of these projects is your grimoire.
The Dusty Grimoire.
The Dusty Grimoire. Does that address also Otherkin?
It does. Currently there are about 4 articles on there that specifically address the embodied nature.
And you also have a guild that addresses Otherkin.
Yes, the Somnium Homunculi, and a podcast associated with that as well, the Vox Homunculi.
Terrific. Terrific. Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives, and I do hope the viewers take a look at our links. And don't forget to subscribe to our video. I am Madam X of House of the Dreaming, here with Vampire Lounge. I can't wait to zoom in on your perspectives.